I was about 1 year old. I was very sick, pretty much all the time.
We didn't know what was wrong with him. He was always throwing up and losing weight rapidly.
I had been choking my whole life. I just couldn't swallow anything, not even water, not even my own saliva.
Put your shoes on and we have to come and go twice.
Turned out he had severe food allergies, but the doctors in those days were not really aware of allergies the way they are today.
When I went back to work and he was starting to get bottles. The milk ultimately is what made him sick, but we didn't know that.
Let's go.
The doctors weren't 100% convinced that allergies really existed.
It took us quite a while till we found a sympathetic doctor. Later on, we started having to have his esophagus dilated on a regular basis.
Are you nervous?
Same level of nervous as always.
That's when we ran into Dr. Mayran.
I remember meeting Mitch and his family. Mitch was 17 or barely 18.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Very well. Yourself this
It seems that when he eats things that he's allergic to, it forms platelets on his esophagus.
The disease is called eosinophilic esophagitis. There's not a whole lot of people with it, but unfortunately, more and more.
In these patients like Mitch, we often have to bring them to open up the passageways, to unblock the tube, and how we do that is through endoscopy. The patient is sedated. This is not done under general anesthesia usually, but under conscious sedation to make them comfortable.
Going with Mitchell for his dilatations is always stressful. There's always a chance of the esophagus tearing. It's a non-repairable organ. So it's always nerve-wracking. You know, he's a grown man, but he's also my baby, so.
My parents have always been very charitable people, and really giving back to the community has been an integral part of my family life growing up.
I was born in Belgium. My parents are survivors of the Holocaust. They came to this country with literally nothing but 2 children.
I was born in Sherbrooke, Quebec. My father worked in a clothing manufacturing plant. My grandparents came from Russia, escaping the pogroms of the early 20th century, I guess it was.
Larry and I met at university. A friend introduced us. She thought we'd be a good match. I didn't think so. I don't think he was so sure either.
Yeah, we were fixed up.
But we'd been married 47 years, and she says to this day that that was her best match.
In around '86, we started the daycare.
The way I was brought up was always in a family that gave and shared whatever it had.
My grandmother, who was one of the kindest and most generous women I've ever known, she passed that on to all of her children.
My mother inspired everybody, every day. Everybody was welcome in her house, and everybody felt welcome in her house. She gave us that legacy, all of us. I think the daycares are part of it. We love it. I go from school to school, give the kids a really good, happy start. Let them flourish, let them do what children should do, sing, dance, play, learn yoga for relaxation, whatever it is that we can give the children that makes their day a happy day.
I believe that if you do well in life, you owe it to the community that enabled you to do well, to give back, to help others in any way possible.
And we'll just need to put this on your eyes. I know you don't like that.
We decided a while ago that we'd like to do something in the area of esophageal research, partially because of Mitchell's condition, partially because it was not something that was being well funded at the time.
Okay, my friend, big swallow.
I did what people usually do. I went on Google and typed in Esophageal Research Canada. Really, the only name that came up was Dr. Ferry's.
It's very rare that $1 million falls on your lap like that. I realized that it allowed me to fulfill a dream I've had ever since I was a resident, namely starting a laboratory dedicated to the study of esophageal diseases, both malignant and benign.
It's one of those cancers that's very small and does not get a lot of research funding. To be able to provide for a first-rate, world-class, cutting-edge laboratory in Montreal is very, very exciting.
So this whole thing or just that little?
One of the things I appreciate the most about our philanthropic community is that particularly Larry and Evelyn didn't just write a check. They are continuing to be completely supportive and involved in this process.
Thanks to the seed grant that we provided to the hospital, they were able to get other people on board. And bringing in the fellows from Israel, of course, adds to the team, adds to the ability of the team to do more and more interesting things. In the laboratory is equipment and counters and test tubes and all that sort of thing. But it's the team that's been put together working on this research project. That's really amazing, and that's really exciting.
Very good.
How did everything go today? Yeah? Thank you, doctor.
Inflammatory diseases have been linked to increased risk of cancer. Cancer has unfortunately played a pivotal role in so many people's lives. My grandparents had cancer, my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and thank God she's in full remission.
It's a little embarrassing, you know, to be in the spotlight. I hope it encourages other people to give, but I think the best thing is that people will be helped.
And that we can get closer to a cure, or at least better management of the condition and all other esophageal conditions as well.
My father used to say, if you can do good, do good. If you can be good, be good. And that's kind of what it was all about.